like, let's say in my past I used to buy Starbucks $3, but now Starbucks $3.20. What is my inflation? It's my lifestyle. So you see, hey, my lifestyle is 6.6%, but government tell me 4%. How come? And your employee always increase based on what government tell. Government say 4%. Okay, I increase 4% for you, but my lifestyle is 6%. How? It cannot cover. Okay, another solution. You can lower down your lifestyle. Let's say now I don't go for Starbucks, I go for Kopitiam coffee. Same thing, past, let's say you got 80 cents and now you spend 90 cents. So, let's say yeah, now $1, sometimes $1.20. Yeah, but by seeing this, actually it's 12.5%. You see, from the 80 cents to 90 cents. So changing lifestyle is one thing. By changing lifestyle, although you can save a lot of nominal there, but you also lose certain value. Like for example, how you like I'm a coffee person, so how I enjoy the Starbucks coffee and how I enjoy the Kopitiam coffee is different. Yeah, so it just give you a concept to see the inflation. See the inflation from your own lifestyle. What is your lifestyle? Then you have a gauge there that how much I should beat my own inflation. Yeah, this is more important for me. If I cannot earn something more than my own inflation, then subsequently my value is loose. Okay. Retirement. I won't cover this one a lot because I think on January, Jian-Da already cover a lot of this retirement thingy. You can come back to Jian-Da. He is the financial planner, so he can give you more proper advice. Basically, here you have a period to accumulate your wealth. Then you have a period to distribute your wealth. Let's say from now 20 to 50 or 60. This is the time you accumulate your wealth and you invest. Then there is a time 60, 65, then you starting distribute for your retirement. But of course, then you need to plan what is your retirement lifestyle, then the cost, everything. And out of this, you also need to have a protection. We can call it your CPF or maybe your insurance. Yeah, this is one thing outside your lifestyle. Why I invest? Also for financial freedom, a lot of meaning here. People say that financial freedom, passive income. I don't need to work, then I got money coming. But some people, the passive income is just like cash machine. As and when I need it, then I can just earn it passively. Or some people is my passive income equal to my expenses, then good enough. But some people also want like my passive income should more than my expenses. So although I lost my job or maybe 1 year without job, I'm still fine. Yeah. So you need to have your reason from just now the inflation, the retirement, the financial freedom. You need to have the overall idea. Then it will set your investment mindset. What kind of investment is suitable for you, and how much you how you allocate your fund, because we learned about the portfolio. That one is important. It's not about I invest in one thing, then I can earn a lot from that. It's about building the investment, your portfolio. So although one sector down or maybe some stock down, it won't pull down all your portfolio. Okay. Then next, talking about how. So how we do investment. Basically here we are talking about the knowledge, practice and mastery. Okay. It's just like our life. Like if there's a kid, then tell you that, hey, what is that thing? It's the bicycle. Then he find interesting. Like the first time you find the stock is very interesting. Okay, but if the parent just say that, okay, this bicycle, you are interested with the bicycle, I give you all the book, I give you all the knowledge, you just learn. But at the end, the kids still don't know how to buy. But another way, like, okay, if I just buy you a bicycle, then maybe in 1 month, 2 months time, you can learn how to buy. Same thing. I can teach you a lot of formula, show you, then you can do investment. But at the end, you only can do that. I only can do, like for example, this example, I only can biking, that's all. But to cross this gap, actually, between the knowledge and practice, is a cycle. If we know something, we need to practice. During the investment journey, a lot of people fail because they know but they don't practice. Then they tend to forget. When you start knowing something and you start practice and learn more again and practice, this is the way you cross the gap. So you will master about what you learn. Yeah. So this is what I also learn. Like besides investing, also a lot of things. If I just know, then I didn't do anything, then I didn't get anything. Investment also, I think I start in June. Then actually I stopped for 1 month. Then I realized, oh okay, I cannot stop. Then I joined the Project 30. Then I start again. Then now I think I built a quite okay, quite stable portfolio, especially from ETF. Later I will show you. Okay, knowledge. I think few of you attended the VIA. Then this is what you learn about the VIA funnel, the COC. I think, yeah, economic mode, financial statement. For valuation, I think I luckily happen to know these two valuations from the VIA, relative value and DCF. I think now only you focus on the DCF. I think. Yeah. But being a valuation is just a target price. Remember, here you learn the mindset about the investing. The important thing is not the price. The important thing is the business. The business, you need to find the business that is sustainable. So give you more relaxed, like rather than you keep worrying that hey, whether this business do good or not. Every week need to check, every month need to check. I tried. In my beginning of my investment, I keep monitoring the stock price, keep monitoring this one, then do some analysis. Then I also feel tired after 2 months. Then, okay, I realized that okay, I should focus on what Karen teach, which is the fundamental, which is the company. The company, how they make profits, how they make profit, yeah, how they grow, how sustainable, what is the plan, read the annual report, yeah. It's a boring task, but it's really help a lot. Yeah. I think just now I talked to the new batch. Yeah, you pay the stock market game. Okay, you will continue pay on the third day 3 also. Quite interesting. Then I think you also preparing the trade show, the VLS. This is the part you starting practice. Just now you know all the valuation method, what you need to, how to read the financial report, everything. This is the part that we practice inside the classroom. And this practice helped me a lot. I learned a lot of things from the stock market game in terms of the mentality. Yeah. I can share something like for example, as a beginner, I don't know about all the valuation. I just, although I learned 2 days ago about the company fundamental, everything, I just ignore. I just see the chart. I just see what the commentator talk that, oh, this stock will going up, this stock will going down, then we just follow blindly. Then on the day 3, then we realize that, okay, we are wrong. Yeah. Yeah, this some of you, yeah. Then the trade show where you practice to analyze the company fundamental, then do some valuations, yeah. Then you try to approach all the quarters, then try to present and why you think that this company is sustainable, whether it's a good buy. Actually, the price doesn't matter. The price. The important thing is the company. Is the company good? You just wait until the price really is your target price that you buy. Yeah. Also, one of my experience, I see this company. I like the company. I do the study. It's good, but because it's good, I like it. I buy without follow my target price. But yeah, so far so good lah. But there is a few months actually is really down. Yeah, really down. But anyway after a few months back, then they will come back to a normal again. Yeah, but stick with your plan is very important. Stick with your plan is very important. Good thing here, after the class, there is also a community here, and I joined another Project 30 which helped me to build a portfolio. This helped me a lot, in terms of the mindset. What I said, the portfolio, just depending on the, for example, you have the COC in technology, you have the COC in the finance, you have COC in the manufacturing. You tend to focus on that area, but actually you need to spread your eggs so that if anything happens in any sector or in the total economy downturn, then it won't pull down your portfolio. One of the things you can spread between the bond, stock or ETF, yeah, this kind of thing. Later I will show you ETF, actually you can buy a lot of things from the ETF. Okay, so what can you do? You can buy ETF, stock, REIT or property. But today we want to more focus on the ETF. Why ETF? Okay, we know this person, Warren Buffett. Right? Warren Buffett actually not much portfolio in ETF, but he did some suggestion for a beginner that actually ETF is the one way to go and it's a good way to go also. You see that in the annual report, actually he mentioned that if you can put a 10% your cash, okay, then 90% you just put in the S&P 500 index. Okay, actually in the long term round you will beat a lot of fund. A lot of investor, the fund manager. And in the 2008, actually Warren Buffett made a bet. They call it $1 million bet. What is the bet is, Warren Buffett, I think he used his personal money to buy this fund from the Vanguard. Then until last year, 2014, is already 7 years. I think the performance not bad is 63% in the 7 years. But another hedge fund is only can reach 90.6%. Yeah. So he just buy the this Admiral Vanguard fund, then do nothing. Then he can earn 63.5%. I prefer the ETF that is not very active managed. ETF got two kinds. One is very active managed. It's kind of like fund. Not many, but we can look at another kind of ETF is not very active one. Means that only 1 year they only change 1-2 stock inside. Yeah, that one is quite stable. I will show you later. So what is actually is ETF? ETF actually is the marketable security. Means that it can trade like the stock. So what to trade? We know that stock, we trade the company. Then what is index? The ETF. ETF, we trade index. We trade commodity. We can trade bonds, and we can also a basket of assets. Some ETF issuer, they have like for example, they can provide you ETF with a high yield dividend. ETF for a security company. Yeah, so it's a bunch of a stock consists of the security company. It's a bunch of stock that give a higher dividend. So this is like index. We know that in the US we got Dow Jones 30, S&P 500. Japan we got Nikkei, Shanghai, Hang Seng, STI. This is index. Yeah. This is more into the country index. There's a lot more index I will show you later on. So what is the advantage and disadvantage of the ETF? Basically, when you buy ETF, you already so-called buy a portfolio inside, because inside the ETF consists a lot of stock already. Okay, and actually it's the low cost if you compare with the mutual fund. Trading flexibility, so during the trading period, you can trade the ETF, buy and sell, and it's a strategy based. So it is in terms of, I will show you some valuation later on. it's not as complex as when you evaluate the stock. This one is more simple because I use the strategy test. The only downturn is the trading fee is not cheap compared with the stock. I think if a thing or swing is 2.5 if you buy stock, I think plus for the ETF is $5 trading fee. The management fee, management fee is one thing. Means that when you buy ETF, every year they will charge you a management fee. It's not like stock, when you buy, then that's it, no other fee. Yeah. Of course, another disadvantage is you cannot anyhow pick the company then become another index. It's by the issuer. So some quite well-known issuer, normally I will look for the well-known issuer like Vanguard, maybe you will see SPDR is from the State Street, iShare for the BlackRock. BlackRock now is, I think, is the biggest fund company, Wisdom Tree, this kind of thing. You can get a bunch of